Well, Snehal Soneji is the Oxfam country director for the Philippines. He joins us now live from Manila. Thank you very much indeed. Mr. Soneji, can you tell us about the Philippines situation? What has gone wrong there? Because the government has already announced that it's in serious danger of missing many of the MDG targets. Is it because rich countries are failing, as has been suggested in New York?
No, I think the problem in the Philippines, for example, out of the 8 Millennium Development Goals and the various targets that have been set for each of them, the Philippines is not going to meet most of them. I think the issue is not only related to the rich countries failing. It's a problem that exists on both ends, and that's on and something it's also got to do not only with the solution is not only financial but also political. And while we're talking of providing adequate aid by the developed countries to for providing food security and on social protection, it is also equally important that the developing countries provide adequate policy environment and which is enabling for the Millennium Development Goals to be met. And there are classic examples where this has successfully been achieved. Brazil and Vietnam is one of them in this region, which has essentially made rapid progress especially on MDG 1.
Oh, but how have they done that? Can you be a bit more specific? Because I wanted to ask you about how relevant the Philippines case is to the rest of the world.
I think Philippines Philippines, like many other countries, has been one of the key issues with relation to why there has been so much slippage. It also is primarily from the point of view of the developing countries is because the policies that are necessary for investing in agriculture. For example, investment in agriculture has stagnated for a long time. One of the key issues there also is, if you take the example of sub-Saharan Africa, talking about something which is wider than Philippines and which covers lots of other developing countries. The stagnation of agricultural productivity is a big issue. And I think, therefore, what has gone wrong is not only that there are not adequate enabling policy environment which is essentially led to increased investment in agriculture, which is going to be a big factor in achieving achieving MDG 1. And wherever there has been successes, for example, I can give you the example of Brazil, which is often quoted all around the world. They have been able to do this because of a targeted intervention which focused on providing subsidized seeds and fertilizers to small producers. So that's, I think, key to small producers also key, and the emphasis that 80% in many countries, in many developing countries, 80% of the food is produced by small producers.
And just briefly, Mr. Soneji, that's what I wanted to ask you about next. What has been the effect of the Millennium Development Goals on ordinary people? Do they really mean anything to the people that you help, for example, in Mindanao, the poorest region in the Philippines?
Oh, absolutely. I think Millennium Development Goals, as stated and as being discussed at the UN summit, may not, as reported, may not mean anything to them. But that's something that's a lived reality for the poorest person out there in Mindanao, which is, of course, the poorest region in this country. And it is a lived reality in the sense that if these targets are not met, there are people who are going to sleep without having enough food to eat, and that's going to be children who are going to sleep without having enough food to eat. So it's something absolutely impacts and affects people all across the world.
Thank you very much indeed, Snehal Soneji, for sparing your time. He's the country director for Oxfam in the Philippines.